Hey there, fellow travelers. So today is kind of a big day. This is actually our very first video that's not just a short, so we thought we would do something a little bit different and thought it might be fun to give you a list of tips that we have from a place we recently visited in case you're planning a trip and think it might be beneficial to you. So since we just got back from Savannah, Georgia, we thought this was the perfect candidate for a video such as this. So if you like this type of content, do us a favor, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, all the typical social media stuff. This way we know that you would prefer to see more content like this. That being said, here is our top 5 tips for if you're planning a trip to Savannah, Georgia. Tip number 1, really consider whether or not you need to rent a car. So obviously this is going to depend on your personal itinerary, but if you're not planning on going too far away from the city itself, you may want to consider just skipping it altogether. The city of Savannah is only about 20 or 25 minutes away from the airport, so it's pretty easy to get an Uber or arrange for some other sort of transportation just to get to your hotel. Now everyone knows that there's a cost associated with renting a car, but it's easy to forget that there are often other upcharges and upgrades that they try to sell you when you actually pick up the vehicle from the airport. Gas expense, additional insurance, other bells and whistles that they're pushing. You could be talking an extra $100 to $150 by the time you actually leave, even if you prepaid and have a set price point that you think you're going to pay for that rental car in the beginning. Now, once you're actually at your hotel, getting around town actually isn't that bad. The city of Savannah as a whole is pretty flat, and there's plenty of sidewalks and walkways and beautiful scenery that it actually makes walking around pretty enjoyable as long as the weather's cooperating with you. If you do choose to rent a car, you also have to figure out where you're going to park it. The parking situation is wild in Savannah. Parking on the streets is pretty difficult as there's not a lot of parking, and the parking that is there is metered. And your hotel will likely offer parking, but it's going to cost you a daily rate. We were looking at prices of $50 to $60 a day, which is a huge additional expense if you're not factoring that in already. Now, there are certainly other parking garages around town that you can utilize to park your vehicle that will charge you less. However, they're probably not going to be located near your hotel. Then you have to worry about parking your car somewhere where you are not at. And if you opt to take that, now you have the additional wrinkle of complexity that you have to factor in walking to the parking garage to retrieve your vehicle before you can get going to wherever you need to be. There are plenty of other options for getting around town if you need them. Savannah has a great public transit system that's free of charge. Plus, there are lots of paid trolley tours that will get you from a lot of touristy destinations pretty easily, and they're pretty entertaining. That takes me to tip number 2. Absolutely take a trolley tour while you're in the city. Savannah offers a lot of different trolley tours. There's different themes, they're offered by different companies, and all of them are pretty interesting. They have ghost tours, they have historical tours, there's a comedy tour. Really, it's just finding what is best for you and works well with your schedule. Personally, we use the hop on, hop off tour. We thought this was great. You get on a trolley, it takes you between like 15 or 17 different stops along a route. Once you get to the next stop, you can keep going or you can get off, observe, do things in that area. And then every 10 to 15 minutes, there's another trolley coming to pick you up and take you to the next stop on the path. We only did it for a day, and I wish we had done it for more. In between the stops, they're telling you things about the city. They're pointing out things that you may have missed along the way. It's a great way to see all the important stuff and to get around town. It was great. I highly recommend it. And in fact, I'm putting a link down in the description of this video. Please feel free, if you're going to Savannah, to click on that. It will give you a discount on that trolley service, the hop on, hop off service. Again, highly recommend it. I would suggest any kind of trolley service to you guys if you're on the way, but this one in particular I thought was easy because of its flexibility, and I'm sure you're going to love it. Tip number 3, visit SCAD in some way, somehow. Now, you may or may not know what that is. If you don't, that is the Savannah College of Art and Design. They have a ton of buildings around the city. I think it's like 85 or 87 different buildings within Savannah that make up this college. While that's impressive, and I'm sure you hear that and you think that's unbelievable, they also offer several buildings that you can go in and do stuff in. So there's the art museum, and if you've been to an art museum, you kind of know what that's about. But the one that I recommend specifically is their building called SCAD's Story. It's an exhibit that actually goes through and walks through the founding of the college and tells you about its history. And it's a 30-minute show. It's free, which is awesome, but it's also really, really interesting. This blends art and technology together to make a really immersive experience. And I can tell you, I do a ton of research before I travel anywhere because I want to know where I should go, what I should do, and I have to plan for children to be along too. SCAD was something that did not show up on, I think, any list that I had seen, and I just happened to stumble across it while I was looking through the map. Looking into it, highly recommend it. My kids were thoroughly entertained. I thought it was really interesting as an adult, and I think whoever you are, it is a great way to kind of spend a half an hour, especially if it's a hot day or a rainy day and you want to duck inside for a little bit. Definitely recommend seeing it. Tip number 4 is try to experience things from the different districts of Savannah. It's easy to get caught up in the historic district, but there are other districts within the city. If you don't know, Savannah is pretty sprawling and it's made up of a lot of different squares, and those squares compile themselves up into several districts. Of those, the historic district is probably the most well known. This is the one that comes up most of the time when you're doing research online. It's got a lot of the famous buildings and architecture there. And this is the place that has things like Chippewa Square, which is where Forrest Gump was filmed, or Forsyth Park, which is where that beautiful fountain is that you've probably seen in media or in photos. All of that is great. But they also have the Victorian District, Starland District, Midtown, Tybee Island. There are a bunch of them, and they're all different, and they have unique things to see and unique things to do. We really liked the River District. One of our hotels was there. That is a great place for nightlife if you're looking to do things after hours, but the river is there too. You can catch a riverboat ride, or you can even just grab dinner on a rooftop and overlook the water as ships go by. It's important anytime you go anywhere, but especially in a city like Savannah, that you find activities when you're building your itinerary to take you to different parts, and you get to see not just a piece of it, but really experience all of it, because it's kind of the point, right? Tip number 5, and possibly most important, be prepared to eat. Savannah is so well known for amazing restaurants, and with good reason, because there are a bunch of them. There are so many places with exceptional food and exquisite cuisine that you're going to want to try a bunch of them. And honestly, you should. You should try as many of them as you can. But there are places all over town, and sometimes it's hard to get a table there. So look ahead of time, figure out some of the big ones that you want to make sure that you try, and throw your reservation in before you get there, if possible. Obviously, you can always roll the dice, and depending on the time of year, you may be able to get in somewhere and get a table without a problem. But if it's important to you to get somewhere, don't take the risk. Just reserve your table ahead of time. There are amazing places to have breakfast, incredible places to have dinner, and there are even places that are solely dedicated to dessert. All of them are fantastic. I don't think I had a bad meal or a bad piece of food the entire time that I was there. I could go on all day about the incredible restaurants, but one in particular that I will note for you is a restaurant called Alligator Soul. Now, this is one that is one of the best restaurants in town. It comes up on lists all the time, and the food there was absolutely exquisite. The atmosphere was great, the service was impeccable, but the food was just out of this world. Not only is the quality of food that was there good, but the things that they offered were also just not something that I could experience at home from a restaurant here or in most of the places that I've been. They offered all kinds of wild game options like venison and elk and bison and of course alligator. I mean, obviously. Now, this may not be up your alley, but I bring this up because I think it's so important that when you travel that you try to experience the microculture of your destination in some way. One of the easiest and low bar effort ways to do that is through food. I absolutely love going somewhere and trying something on a menu that I can't get back at home. And that restaurant hit that box for me, but it's certainly not the only one in Savannah that could do that for you. There are lots of options and lots of restaurants. I highly recommend finding some place during your trip that offers something that you have never tried before and just giving it a whirl. Even something as simple as pralines, which Savannah is known for. It's a sweet and it uses a nut and chocolate. I don't know how they make it. I'm not a pecan person. I think that pecans are what's in that. But when you're walking up to the candy shops, you can smell them from like a mile away and they smell incredible. And walking in, they're happy to give you samples. And once I tried one, my goodness, was it good. So, moral of the story is be willing to try something new and anywhere you go. But Savannah in particular is a great place to do that because they have so many options and you are guaranteed to find a fantastic meal while you're there. And that's it. That is our list of tips for your trip to Savannah, Georgia. We hope that you found something that was useful and maybe something you can use while you're planning your trip to Savannah. And we would appreciate it if you subscribed or left a like or a comment. Those things really do help us out, so we would certainly appreciate it, but if you don't, that's okay too. Either way, we hope you had fun. We appreciate you stopping by, and as always, safe travels.